Hi everyone, this is Sunette, and in this video I'm continuing with a challenge that I faced in the beginning years of portaling, and I must say it still does tend to come through and happen. And it was quite and still is to an extent. I suppose it is something that I'm still, when and as it does happen, I recognize it and correct it, because it was that tendency to see a person's potential. Now, let's get into how I see the potential. Okay, so interdimensionally, physically seeing a being's potential, this is me having deep access into your pure beingness, nature, and state, meaning the being that you can be and become if you'd let go and walk through and transcend that of you that you're accepting and allowing to in any way see yourself as or experience yourself as being less than, inferior, weak, disempowered, the self-judgments, the compromise, the suppressions, the emotions, the secrets, the deceptions, the lies. So it's literally all of that, and this is things that still stays with us throughout our lives, and that's something that we often take for granted. That we think a moment of of compromising where we bite our tongue when, let's say, someone asks something of us, and we really already, let's say, compromise time for many other people, and it had gotten into almost, let's say, a few days of this pattern playing out, and you hadn't invested any time into, let's say, things that you needed to get to, your responsibilities, your obligations. So it's that the people pleaser personality, and in that we don't realize how you might have done that for just a week and having it played out, and then you may have eventually broken down. But the memories, the remembrances of that suppression, of every time you had to bite your tongue and kind of have that gnawing emotion or experience within yourself of, no, my goodness. Now you're becoming more stressed and more panicked because your time for yourself and your obligations and responsibilities becoming less and less and less. Those things fester inside of us. And our mind, our consciousness, and what we do to ourselves in moments in everyday life actually imprints and remains as a memory within our body. So now, all those types of things start layering and layering and layering inside of us, and, throughout our lives. And then before we know it, we're almost naturally, living into that people-pleasing personality and recycling over and over and over again, and pleasing others, breaking down, giving some time to us, and then it all happens again. So it's what I see is your being on a very deep level within and beyond all of that. Like the who you would be or could be, and then possibly can become, if you would learn like what it means to be whole, complete, equal, one with yourself, how to equally consider yourself in relation to others, how to and discover and understand what it would mean to redefine and live the words that align with your utmost potential, your nature, your actual, real, true expression. This process from consciousness to awareness that we're walking is essentially a process of getting to know yourself on a level that you've never before. And, this has always been with just having a look at doing that simple exercise I showed you in the previous video, just looking into your eyes. For the moment, just dropping those tendencies of seeing the negative, the bad, the judgments, and just the physical. And just look into asking yourself, okay, what potential of me do I see right here, right now? Do I sense? Do I feel? And practicing recognizing the words that come through inside yourself, like strength, perseverance, determination, motivation, spontaneity, silliness, fun, and start deliberately living them, doing them, expressing them in your everyday life. Asking yourself, but where am I actually already living these words, but I'm not acknowledging it even. I'm not giving myself enough credit here. So, seeing those aspects and words and expressions and experiences emerging within me and maturing and growing, and how I've changed and been the front runner of my own process in walking that for me, and in so doing also for others, it has been extraordinary. And so, with seeing also what beings become, in terms of what access of their nature they have when they get to the other side after the life that they have lived. And, from the other side, also looking into beings, people, and your mind and your beingness in your body, and just seeing these expressions. What I mean by expressions, it's like, imagine this eternal fountain that, like water, you can imagine any fountain, all right, that's like just exploding with water. But now also imagine that as much as you can see that fountain exploding with water from afar, you can also see it up close and almost in slow motion. And you can see every single detailed water molecule. And as within that water molecule, you can imagine every and any and all colors within existence. And not only that, but each and every single molecule is crystallized, just like a snowflake, with a particular signature and design and geometry and pattern. And you can even go into the detail of that. And when you go into every single water molecule and explore every pattern and geometrical design of the water molecule representing a word, an expression, a feeling, an experience, it feels like you're exploring a new universe. So it's like those water fountains would be, but a color fountain of eternal color, different expressions, feelings, experiences of our beingness. That's what I see within people when I look at them. It doesn't look exactly like a water fountain, but it's quite similar in its design. So it's the closest a reference I can give from this existence into what I see. And each and every single person's fountain of self, of beingness, is different and unique. And this is what I've also been doing with where I initially wanted to do the drawings of people's beingness signatures and sound symbols, which represent the geometry, the design, the patterns of your pure beingness, and extracting the words from there that you can live into your everyday life, that will facilitate that process of bringing through your beingness nature more and more and more, strengthening your potential self, essentially. Unfortunately, due to time constraints, walking that process was a bit challenging, but, how you can still access those words, those potentials, those expressions for yourself that I also see, is walking that which I suggested in the previous video, looking into the mirror, seeing the words, the better words, the best words, the potential words that define you, and actively start participating with them more, asking yourself, who are you as these words? How can you notice them more inside yourself and your everyday life? So that's more the detail of a reference of how it is that I see your being on a very, very deep level. And, that's on a deep level, right in the center of every person. So I see it like just below the chest area. And why the moment with the individual that I shared in the previous video was so specific, because she was quite specific with how I see and where I see and look into a person when I look through the body, through the mind, and deep into them. But at the same time, I also see that expression kind of always here within and as a person, like it's right there. And sometimes it feels like I want to just look at a person and say, you're right here. Hello, can you not see yourself? But that's where the mind process comes in. So I know I haven't as of yet got into the challenge that I faced, but it's something that many of you will be familiar with. And it's quite similar to that tendency where you only want to see the good in people. But what comes through is the reality of who they are and how they are right now. And it may not meet the good that you do see in them that they could be. And how, that tendency can become a problem. But how I managed to balance my relationship with that, where, yes, I can see their potential and recognize where they realistically are as a person. And then how can I assist and support them, if they so choose, to bring through that potential into where they are at right now, or where they're at right now, they can go and meet their potential in a way. So that I'll continue with in videos to come. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and see you next time.